Welcome to Cory's Stories. Are you ready to meditate with Cory?
Hi, my friend. I wanted to just jump in for a quick minute just before you listen to your story and say, if you love Heidi and Cherry and you love Tucker and Leo and you think you would like to be in one of their clubs, go to the link below my video and you can join the Cat Club or the Tucker and Leo Club, or you can join both the clubs called Raining Cats and Dogs. It's a club where you get 3 or 5 or 2 exclusive stories every month that are sent to you, and you get to have your name mentioned in those stories. If that's something that you want, then talk to your guardians, your mom, your dad, your auntie, your grandma, whoever it is that helps to take care of you, and ask them if you can join the cat club or the dog club. Okay, enjoy my story. I love you so much. Bye. Bye.
Are you ready to meditate with Cory? Make sure that you're snugly and warm in your bed, and that way you can start to relax your body. Try and stay still and quiet. Focus on slowing down your breathing. Try to take longer, slower, deeper breaths so that your body can calm down and your mind can start to slow down. And that way, hopefully, while you listen to the story, you may possibly fall fast asleep. Vaya was fast asleep. She was having one of her princess dreams. The dreams that take her to completely different worlds. The world that she was in during this particular dream was an ice world. She felt like a snow queen. She had a gown on that was brilliant, brilliant white. And she had an ice blue velvet cape that trailed at least 6 feet behind her. She was walking in glass slippers through the middle of a palace that was made of ice. The floor beneath her feet was solid ice, and it was shiny like marble. Her heels clicked and clacked as she walked. The hall that she was walking through was presently packed, jammed, full of other cats from this town that had all been invited to her ball. She was celebrating the 10th year of being the queen, the Snow Queen. Everyone was presently bowed down, either on their knees or curtsying, if they were females. Everyone's heads were bowed down to the ground to show respect for Queen Vaya. She felt very confident and self-asserted and secure. She felt very at ease being a queen. In this dream, she was so good at it, guys. So natural. She definitely looked like she'd been a queen for a very, very long time. In fact, she looked as if this was maybe the 10th lifetime that she'd been a queen. It just seemed to ooze out of her, that royal feeling, superior feeling, but yet she was a kind queen, a very loving, compassionate queen. Vaya would never be a mean queen. Once she sat down on her throne, automatically everyone could raise their heads, and the celebration could commence. There was a live orchestra in the palace and they started to play music. And it was as if people had practiced for months and months and months because they all seemed to know the dances that followed throughout the evening. Lines of male and female cats dancing, coordinated together, as if everyone knew the same dances. Meanwhile, she sat and watched the celebration. She sat alone up there on a throne. She'd been watching for that long that she started to drift off and stare into space. And then something at the back of the hall, someone at the back of the hall, caught her attention. Whoever this person was, they were tall, dark, and handsome. They were wearing a royal blue suit with a white shirt that had ruffles around the neck, and the ruffles came out of the jacket sleeves at the bottom. The blue contrasted with the black fur of the cat that she was watching so perfectly. She was mesmerized. She couldn't seem to take her eyes off him. The funny thing was, he was wearing gloves. She couldn't quite understand why he was wearing gloves because that wasn't the fashion in the stream. No one else at the celebration was wearing gloves. It didn't go with their outfit. Why was this gentleman cat wearing gloves? Who was he? Where had he come from? Why was he in her palace? And why did she not know who he was? She leant to the left and whispered into one of her servants' ear and said, "Who is that cat? Find out and let me know." The servant scurried off to find out the information that the Queen needed. Within about 10 minutes, the servant came back and said, "No one has a clue, Mom. No one knows who this cat is. It's a mystery." Thought Vaya. Intriguing. She said to herself. She watched, and it seemed like he was watching her. He was just staring at her from the back of the palace hall, with piercing blue eyes that seemed to shine even brighter because of the blue in his jacket. They sparkled and twinkled. They were mesmerizing. The Queen made a gesture with her head, slightly tilting her chin up and her face to one side, as if to say, "Come hither. Come here." The gentleman walked through all of the middle of the dancers. He didn't walk around the crowd. He parted the crowd and walked through with so much ease and confidence, mirroring exactly how Vaya, the Queen, had walked through shortly before the celebration had started. She liked him. He seemed very confident and calm. When he finally reached where she was sat, he bowed his head in respect, very low, and he stayed there for moments, exaggerating the action. When he finally came up and made eye contact with her, Vaya noticed that she got very hot and flustered. And then in her dream, she was hot and flustered in real life, and she was trying to kick off the covers. "Oh, it's so warm. It's so warm in here," she was saying to herself while she was kicking next to Cherry and Heidi in bed back home. But in her dream, she was just a little bit hot and flustered. She pulled at the collar of her dress, of her gown, and tried to move it away from her throat. Whew. She was trying to blow down the front of it, but at the same time, do it very discreetly because queens don't perspire. No, queens don't get nervous. But Vaya was nervous. And then he said, "Good evening, Queen Vaya. It is a pleasure to meet you." Well, her cheeks went very, very pink. "And who may you be?" she said to the gentleman. "Why are you in my palace, and why do I not know your name?" He said, "Forgive me, Queen. I'm not from these lands. My name is Slate." "Excuse me?" she said. "Slate," he said as he bowed his head very gracefully again. "Oh, okay," said Vaya. "I heard about the celebration, and I was hoping that I could possibly have a dance with you." Vaya, the queen, blushed once again. "Oh my," she thought to herself. "Oof, no one dares normally ask me to dance." She acted very cool, raised her chin slightly, and then looked down at him just a little bit and said, "Well, yes, you may. You may have a dance." He bowed once again, and as if the orchestra knew, the beginning of the next song started. It happened to be one of Vaya's favorite songs. He held out a hand and helped her to come down the steps of her throne, very gracefully, in her glass ice slippers. Vaya slowly walked across the dance floor with him holding her paw up in the air, as if he was aiding every step. That's when Queen Vaya noticed once again that he was wearing those gloves. "What is it with the gloves?" she thought to herself. "I must ask." They'd been dancing a few moments, and he danced superbly. She was very impressed. And that's when she said, "May I ask why you wear these gloves?" "Well, my queen," he said, "I have a very special magic that runs through my family. But unfortunately, that magic hinders me being able to touch anything without it turning to ice. So I wear these gloves in protection. Not for protection of myself, but for protection of those that may come in contact with my touch, such as you." "Oh," Queen Vaya said. "Oh my, that is a very magical talent. Did you by any chance have a hand in creating this palace?" "My family did, my queen. Not me personally. I was in a different place at that time. But that is exactly what I could do. But unfortunately, I would also be able to turn you into an ice statue if I touched you with my bare paws." "Oh," said the queen. "My. So we would never be able to touch paws?" "No, my queen. Unfortunately, we would not." In the dream, Vaya skipped forward to a different time with Slate. She was walking through the palace grounds. It was a nice, bright day. He'd come to visit. Once again, he had his gloves on. But for some strange, crazy reason, in her dream, she had the wild, impulsive urge to pull off his gloves and touch his paw. And it was her dream after all, so she was going to do it. She very quickly just grabbed a hold of his paw, pulled off his glove, and touched it. And just as he said, she turned into an ice statue. She couldn't move. She felt stuck, still, solid, like cement. She could breathe, but she couldn't talk. She couldn't move a little cat mouth. She couldn't blink. She couldn't do anything but breathe. She was alive on the inside of the ice, and she wanted to scream. She wanted to get out. She felt like she was suffocating. The feeling and the sensation made Vaya panic. She moved and wiggled and rolled. And when she opened her eyes, she realized she'd rolled herself up in the blanket, and she was all trapped inside, her arms and her legs. There was only her head sticking out, and she could barely breathe. She must have been having a frantic dream. She unraveled herself very quickly, woke up, completely and utterly woke up, shook her face and said, "Oh my, that was a very interesting dream." Vaya laid there for a second, and Cherry started making strange noises, as if she was eating a hamburger or something in a dream. Vaya started to giggle, and then Cherry burped as if she'd swallowed the hamburger wrong or something. Vaya giggled again. Cherry, she's so funny. She looked over at Heidi, and Heidi was still fast asleep. And Vaya laid there for a while with her eyes open, staring at the ceiling, thinking, "Oh my, I do have the strangest love affairs in my dreams." The end.